Hello and welcome to Relatively Crafty, a knitting podcast. I am your host, Christy. I come to you from the Denver area of Colorado, where I live with my husband, Ron, and our two daughters, Tatum, who is 12, and Delaney, who is 9, and our tuxedo cat, Lilu, who is currently sitting right next to me and attacking a Cheshire Cat plushie that I have. You can find me on Ravelry as Christy-Lael and on Instagram as Christy-Lael without the dash. And we have a Relatively Crafty podcast group on Ravelry where we have knit-alongs and giveaways and chatter and whatnot. And we are having a knit-along currently. We're running the Autumn Accoutrements knit-along, which is going from September 22nd to December 21st, the entirety of autumn. And the idea of the knit-along is that you just knit accoutrements or accessories, so hats, gloves, scarves, shawls, you know, all the accessories. All the details are in the thread on Ravelry, and anything counts. The only rules that I have is that it has to be an accessory. You have to be a member of the group, and if you knit up to 399 yards, then you get 1 entry, and if you knit 400 plus yards, you get 2 entries. To get 2 entries, I ask that you post 2 FO posts in the FO thread. I also ask that you only post FO posts in the FO thread, no chatter, and that you do all your chattering in the chatter thread. We have got lots of entries, which is great, and I am looking forward to awarding prizes at the in December. So it's working out to be a very successful cowl, which is good. The Summer Solstice cowl was also successful, so I'm liking these kind of seasoned themed cowls. In fact, we might have to come up with a winter one. I'm not entirely sure what I will count for a winter one. I'll have to think about that. I got a couple of months. Anyway, we also have giveaways. I've been running a giveaway in the group for the past 2 weeks, and today is the final day for it. That is for this gorgeous skein of Campfire, which is dyed by Carrie of The Creative Obsession. She has a podcast and an Etsy shop, and she's amazing. And so we had 55 entries in the thread, and the winner was post number 39, which is Jen Makes Things, who is Jen in South Carolina. So Jen, give me a message on Ravelry, and I will get this mailed out to you ASAP. And those of you who are international, who won for any of the giveaways or cowls that we've had recently, everything got shipped out yesterday. I do apologize for the wait, but I had to go to the post office, and I'm lazy. No, honestly, I wanted to kind of collect it all at once, and I had to go to the post office. The post office is, it's a headache. And so I shipped out everything. Nikki, your sweater for the baby is in there. Heather, your yarn for our swap is in there. And all the prizes that were international are in there as well. So yeah. Oh, and Wendy, your prize is in there as well, although you are just, a hop, skip, and a jump away from me. But it's like I shipped to Colorado and to everywhere else outside of the U.S. It was funny. Okay, so I believe that is all of the administrative items that I need to address. So let's go ahead and get into the knitting. And I always start with FOs. I only have one FO, and I don't actually have it with me. So I'm going to send you back to Past Christy, who talked about the FO, and then I will see you in just a few moments. Hey guys, it's Christy from the past. Today is Monday, October 16th, and today is not my day to podcast, but I just finished a project, and I have to get it in the mail today. In fact, as soon as I finish with this, I'm going to be running to the post office. So I wanted to just record this quick clip to show you what it was that I made before it's gone from my possession. So a couple of weeks ago I got contacted by Nicole at Hue Loco, who asked if I would be willing to do a sample knit for her for Rhinebeck, and I was more than keen on doing that. And we cut it a little bit close, but she shipped me the yarn last Wednesday and wanted me to knit a shawl for her, and I needed to get it to her by this Wednesday, so I had a week. So needless to say, I knit like a madwoman for the past several days, and started Wednesday afternoon and finished it Sunday morning. I blocked it, and so so it is done. I finished it in time, and I didn't knit on anything else. So anyway, let me go over the yarn. The yarn I used, of course, is Hue Loco, and I used her spun base, which is an MCN. It is 80-10-10, I believe. Let me double check on that. Yes, an 80-10-10. And the colors that I used are a new fade that Nicole is going to be debuting at Rhinebeck, which is like next weekend or something like that, soon. I hadn't paid close attention to the dates because I knew I couldn't go this year, but anyway, she's going to be selling these fade kits at Rhinebeck, and so she wanted a sample knit up in the kit to show people what it's going to look like when it's knit up. So here is, there's 4 colors in this fade. And this is the first color. This is called Funky Funky, and it's a, it's like a white base with just all different kinds of colored speckles in there. Blue, orange, yellow, purple, green, just pretty much everything in there. And then I faded that into this beautiful yellow speckled. This is Happy Dance. And you can see it's a yellow base and has also the same colored speckles. And then I faded that into Sucker Punch, which is gorgeous as well. All of these are really gorgeous. Which is a green, like a chartreusey green, neon green base with the colored speckles. And then I faded that into Happy Dance, which is a blue base with colored speckles. There's a theme here, colored speckles. Anyway, so the pattern that Nicole had me knit was Summer Rain by Vera Valimaki, and I'm not sure if it's a new pattern or not, but there hasn't been very many people who have made it. I think it is new. I would highly recommend it. It was super fun to knit. It's easy, very intuitive, and it's got a nice fun shape. And so it's just a good pattern to knit. So I started with the Funky Funky, as we said, and then I faded that into the Happy Dance, and that into the Sucker Punch, and that into the High Five, and it ends over there. So it's too big to fit into the shot, of course. But I do love the way that it worked up. It's a nice size. All the way down there, pretty deep. I didn't have enough time to do a proper gauge swatch. I don't often do gauge swatches for my own shawls, but I would have done one for job, obviously, but I didn't have enough time to, knit a swatch, block it, and whatnot. So I just went ahead and went with the recommended needle size, which was a 6, and I used my ChiaoGoo interchangeables with the US 6 needle tips, and I probably would have gone up 1 needle size because my gauge was a little bit on the small size. And so the shawl is just slightly smaller than the schematic. I blocked it aggressively, and it's not a small shawl, obviously. you know, it's a good size shawl. Not entirely sure how one would wear one of these. It would be great around the shoulders, maybe like that. Anyway, I'm not a shawl aficionado. So anyway, because my gauge was a little bit smaller, I didn't use quite as much yarn. I only used like just under 800 yards, and I think the pattern calls for 1200 yards. So I probably it probably could have been a lot bigger, but I still think it's a good size, and I will post a proper FO shot so you can see the whole thing together. And yeah, it was super fun to knit. And seriously guys, if you're going to Rhinebeck, or if you have been looking for a fade kit, I would highly recommend these. I think that Nicole is going to be selling them in the shop after Rhinebeck, and I think, and although don't quote me on this, I do think that she's going to be selling them in DK as well. So if you have your eye on the Cozy Fade cardigan that Andrea Mowry just released, I'm seriously thinking about it, because I think this would be a great cardigan fade, wouldn't it? Oh, yeah. So anyway, that is what I wanted to show you, and I will now send you back to present day, Christy. All right, bye. So yeah, so that was a great experience. I really enjoyed being able to knit for Nicole. Working with her yarn was awesome. It's gorgeous. I love that fade. Those colors are amazing. Yeah, it was loads of fun. It was a lot of knitting to be done in a short amount of time. So I put everything else on hold while I knit her shawl, which was fine. You know, there was nothing pressing in my own personal knitting, and it was, you know, it was a kind of a special one-time thing. If I do knit for her again, I'm sure that it won't need to be on such a short time frame. But it was a great experience, and I do hope that she does contact me again, because I really, really enjoyed doing it. So that's the only FO that I have, but I do have my whips, so we'll go ahead and go through those. Last week I showed you this finished sock. This is out of Lolo Did It in the Hippo for Halloween colorway with Blazing Sevens in a little Lolo for the heels, toes, and cuffs. And I had just barely started the toe on the second sock. I have managed to finish the foot and do the heel, so I've just got the leg left to do. So, you know, a couple of inches, and I will definitely have this finished this week. I wanted to make sure that I got the heel done as quickly as I could, because I want to be able to finish my other Lolo Did It project, which is done out of the Hippo for Dia de los Muertos, which is also due by the end of the month. If you recall, I am knitting the Scaldacoldo Todi cowl by Positano Carla Designs, and I'm making it out of the Dia de los Muertos and a slew of little Lolos that I had. I'm using Lucky, I'm using Troll Hair, Ow, I Feel Good, Elba Island, and Blazing Sevens. And I am nearly done with this. I just have one section left to go, and then the ribbing. I'm going to show it to you upside down. So there's where it started with the Lucky, and then you stripe it with the Muertos, and then you do a basket weave pattern with the Muertos, and then you do some garter striping, which I did with the Elba Island, and then a ribbed cable with the Troll Hair, and then some more striping in garter stitch with the Lucky and the Ow, I Feel Good, And then the last section is an eyelet section, which I will be doing in the Muertos, and then I will finish it with the ribbing in Blazing Sevens, and I should have just enough to be able to do that. So, so yeah, I'm really enjoying the way it's turned out. It's very colorful, obviously, but I think it is going to be a fun cowl to wear. And you know, with these long cowls, they end up kind of scrunching up, so you just get little bits of each of the sections in. You only get to see little bits of each of the sections, so I think it's going to turn out really well. So yeah, it looks funky right now because it's not been blocked, but this will all block out evenly. I'm very excited about it. So yeah, I will definitely have this one done next week as well. And that is good because I still have 2 pairs of socks that I still have to knit for my cowls for the month of October. I have my Desert Vista Dye Work socks and my Box of Socks, and now I have, what, today's the 17th, right? So I have 2 weeks left in the month, so I need to get on those socks. My last WIP is the sweater that I am knitting for Delaney, and that sweater is Calades by Jen Joyce Designs, and it is a bulky weight bottom-up raglan, just a very plain stockinette sweater, but that's exactly what I wanted for my kids. So here is the body, and I still have to check it up to Delaney. It is 12 inches, which is how much the pattern calls for, but I want to make sure that it's going to be long enough. I am a little bit concerned about running out of this color. This is colorway. This is Ella Rae Chunky Merino Superwash in colorway 39, which is grape juice. I looked it up on their website, and I only have this much left, a little bit over half a skein, and I have to do, you know, the fronts and the backs. So I may have to order another skein. I'm kind of bummed out about that, but that's the way it goes. If Delaney wants it to be, she wants it to have the body be the purple and the sleeves be blue, and so that means I can't use the blue for the body, you know. So yeah, but anyway, I've got, if not the entire body until I join the sleeves, almost the entire body. I might have to add another inch, but we'll see. And then I have one sleeve all the way done, and this is knit up on a size 10 needle, US 10, so they're knitting up very fast. I did this whole sleeve in like a day. It's just a really quick knit. So one sleeve is done, and it is it fits perfectly, so I don't have to measure that one. And I have plenty left over of that skein. I also have a second skein with which to make the second sleeve. So I am going to focus on the cowl and the socks, but I do expect to probably have the second sleeve at least done and be ready to work on the rest of the sweater by the time I see you guys next week. And that's it. I don't have a lot of WIPs, and they're all ones that you guys have seen already. So so yeah, I do expect to have more to show you next week. Hopefully I'll have at least 2 FOs, if not 3, and then some more things on the needles. I am also really hoping to finish Delaney's sweater, because I desperately want to knit my own sweater. We're having, you know, cool weather, and the mornings are particularly cool, and I want to have, I have that that Battersley Hall that I showed you guys a couple of weeks ago, the orange and green striped pullover, and that is great for really cold days, but it's heavy. It's a bulky, I think it might even be super bulky, and so it's really heavy, so it has to be cold, otherwise I just get overheated, and so I want to have like a worsted or a DK pullover that I can wear for when it's not quite as cold. I would also really like to make a lightweight cardigan, maybe, to wear in the interim seasons, you know. But yeah, I've just been thinking about having, like, how nice it would be to have a lightweight cardigan that I could just throw over a top and wear in some, you know, where it's cool but it's not too cold. I know a lot of people have made the featherweight cardigan, and I've thought about that. I know it's a lace weight, but a lot of people have made it out of fingering weight. And I have all of these leftovers of my Lolo Did It Hippo colorways. See, I think this is Hippo for Mom, this is Hippo for Cinco, this is St. Patty's Day, this is Hippo for Dad, and this is Independence Day. And I will have a decent amount of the other two, the ones that I'm knitting now, Halloween and Dia de los Muertos, plus I've just ordered Thanksgiving, and then I have Christmas, and I think New Year's is going to be the last one. So I'm thinking about using the leftovers of those to kind of just put them all together and make a lightweight fingering cardigan. Something, you know, not too big, you know, just like a featherweight would be perfect. And then I could just throw it on when I'm just slightly chilled. We'll see. If you have a better pattern suggestion than the featherweight, let me know. I won't have, I don't know, I have like 40 to 70 grams of all the colors except for St. Patty's Day. I used most of this skein. But I just think that it would be fun to have that. Oh, and of course I also have the So Faded pullover that I'm planning on knitting. I completely forgot about that one. I should make that soon, because that would be perfect. If I made the So Faded, which I am planning on knitting out of Yarn Cafe Creations in these 4 colors, then that would be a perfect fingering weight pullover. And then I am planning on knitting myself a flax pullover, which is worsted, out of this Lolo Did It in Look at the Flowers, Lizzie, and Blue Suede Shoes. There, I'll pull it out of the bag a little bit so you guys can see that. So those are 2 very soon projects that I plan on casting on. I keep going back and forth over which one I want to make first. So many sweaters, so little time. And then of course Andrea Mowry just came out with a new faded sweater pattern, which is the Comfy Faded Cardi, and it's knit out of DK weight yarn. Now, I am very tempted to purchase a whole DK faded kit. In fact, I think that I recall, I might have already said this, I might have said this in my past Christy bit, but I think I recall Nicole saying that she was going to do that faded kit that I made her shawl in DK as well, and I'm very, very tempted to use that. But I do have some odds and ends skeins of DK weight yarn that I might be able to just work. I would love to get your guys' opinion. I have this skein of Madeline Tosh Long Rider DK in the brass colorway, which is just a nice, like variegated yellow, gold. I also have this skein of Swoonish Walker DK in Lisa Frank Bender, which has, you know, a very similar thing at the bottom here, and then it goes into these beautiful blues and purples and pinks. And then I have this skein of Teeny Button Studios Squish DK in Gilded Unicorns, which is very similar to this, only kind of a more muted color. I think that these two would fade in really well. And then lastly, I have this Legacy Fiber Arts DK in, what color is this? We'll Make Snow Angels, which is blues and purples. So these three really fade well together. And then Carrie at the Creative Obsession has just done a, she's got a colorway that some of the proceeds, I think 25% of the proceeds are going to help disaster relief for the fires in Northern California. And that colorway I think would go well with these. I'll try to post a picture. So I'm thinking that if I can get these plus the one that Carrie is making, that might be enough yardage to do a fade. It's not what the yardage that she's calling for, but I might be able to do a faded cardigan with maybe one more skein. I haven't actually added it up, because these are a little bit lighter. She does it with 4 colors, but these are a little bit lighter, so I think I would need 5 or 6 colors. Anyway, let me know what you think, and what order you think they should go in, because maybe I should wait until I get Carrie's skein and then look at it. But it would be great to have a use for these, besides just making another hat. I do have enough hats. And I would love to use these. I love these. So yeah. Okay, so I've just gone off on like a dream knit tangent. Can you see that I'm excited about knitting new things? So let's go ahead and get into my yarn haul. Last week, maybe the week before, I had mentioned that that I was running out of A Million Stars in my stash. A Million Stars is one of my favorite indie dyers, especially for stripies, and I have knit a lot of her yarn this year. I think like 5 skeins of hers went into my box of socks. And I have one of her skeins is being knit this month, and then I have one more left, and that was exhausting the rest of the stuff that I had in my stash. And so I went ahead and checked her shop to see what she had, you know, what colorways she had, and if anything looked interesting. And she had 2 skeins that were gorgeous that were discounted because they had little issues with them. The first one is this one. This is Lime Fizz, and you can see it is lime green stripes with speckled stripes. And she says that there are some errant brown spots. I haven't taken the skein apart yet, but I haven't seen it. So I figure it can't be that bad, and I can always just cut it out of the sock if it's an issue. Although I probably won't. It probably won't bother me at all. So I have this one, and I love this bright color. And then the second one is also bright and stripy, and it is this one, which is basically the same as the Lemon Drops, only it's this beautiful yellow instead, and then speckles. And this one has, I don't know if you can see right there, that's a cut strand. She accidentally cut the strand, and so she sold it for a cut price as well, and I don't mind that either. I can just I can work around that. That won't be a problem. So so I have these 2 now in my stash, and I'm excited to knit them. I probably won't be anytime soon. I kind of want to let them. I want to enjoy them. I want to look at them. They're pretty. And then Nicole at Hugh Loco recently posted about a Halloween club that she was having. It was just a one-off, like it wasn't a monthly thing, it was just once. But it was Halloween colors, and I couldn't pass that up. So it was a surprise. I didn't know what it was, but it came, and it's so beautiful. So this is in the Phyllis sock, which is her 75-25 base, and you have this white base with black, purple, and orange speckles. I especially love this part. And then it comes with a heel toe skein in the same orange, and I know that I'm going to love these. I am sorely tempted to cast this on ASAP because it is a Halloween colorway and it's the month of Halloween. However, I know that I won't have time before the end of the month to get another pair of socks done. And especially if I want to knit all these sweaters, I need to just focus on the socks that I need to do for the cowl. So I'm probably going to save this one for next year. But I love it. It's gorgeous. And then the last skein of yarn that I have is not one that I bought. I was contacted with a request to do a review of a new line of yarn. And so I'm going to show you the yarn. I'm not going to do the review now because I haven't worked with it yet. But this is from Bijou Basin Ranch, which is a wonderful yarn company. And this is their Bijou Spun Himalayan Summit yarn. And it is 50% yak down and 50% super fine merino. And oh my goodness, guys, it is so soft. It is really, really soft. I am super excited to work with it. This is a fingering weight yarn. Maybe they have it as sport. I think it's a sport weight yarn. I do apologize. But it is 325 yards, and I am going to make myself a hat. And I'm super excited about it. So I am going to pick out some pattern. I'm not sure, but it's got to be, I don't know, something with cables or lace or something. I'm not sure if you can see the color really clearly, but it is this beautiful burgundy, like a deep purple burgundy. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm so excited to work with it. And I have this pom-pom that I got weeks ago, and it's kind of like a purpley gray, so I think that that will be the perfect topper for this hat. I'm super excited to work on it. The review will come in December, so so you'll see this. I'll probably be knitting it next month, and then I will talk about the yarn in December. I'm really excited about it. I'm really grateful that I get this opportunity to work with this yarn and then tell my thoughts about it. So look forward to that, guys. And then lastly, I completely fell into the rabbit hole that Michelle of Knotty Knitwits opened up when she talked about the bags at Kitchen Clutter, which is an Etsy shop. I have always loved the, well, before I get into the bag, I'm going to say she along with bags, she sells handmade pom-poms. And so I got a pom-pom. It's so fluffy. I love it. And it is bright yellow. And I got it to put on top of this hat that I finished a couple of weeks ago. I've been waiting to have the right pom-pom to put on there, and I think that this is it. I really like the way that looks. So I'm going to figure out how I want to attach it. I want to make sure that it's on there good and tight. I don't want it to, oh gosh, I don't want it to flop around. So I'm going to figure something out. But I love how fluffy that is, and I love how it kind of pulls out the gold in the hat. So yeah, that is one of the things that I got from Kitchen Clutter. But the main thing, I have wanted a fringe supply bag for ages, but I just could not justify the cost. I have plenty of project bags. I don't need any more project bags, but I still like the look of them. And I would like to be able to start collecting, you know, the acrylic buttons or pins, and you know, they look so good on a fringe supply bag. But as I said, I just couldn't spend the money. However, I don't have to anymore because I got this at Kitchen Clutter. Is that not gorgeous? Look at that orange. And then on the inside, orange plaid. Yay! I absolutely love it. Yeah, I just, look at that. Oh my gosh, I love this bag so much. Now it comes with a finger carrying, so I might put a carabiner on there so I can attach it to my belt. But it is a drawstring bag, and it's a good size. I'll be able to use this for bigger projects, shawls and some sweaters and stuff like that. And I just absolutely love it. This orange, guys, it's killing me. I'm so happy. So happy. So yeah, absolutely love that. And that's all I got. I do have some more yarn coming, of course. I was trying to be really good about you know, not buying a bunch of stuff, but then Carrie, being the evil person that she is, posted some new colorways. I have been really trying to fight buying Fire in the Sky and Stardust. Those I absolutely love, but I do know that there's a good chance that those will be repeated, like I could get those again. However, Carrie just announced that she was doing a Christmas colorway, and it's adorable. And so I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get that one after Christmas, and Amy at Stranded is doing, you know, she's been talking about all these Christmas socks. She wants to get herself, she wants to make herself 25 different Christmas socks. I'm like, oh, that would be great. I don't have any Christmas yarn. I really don't. I don't think I have any Christmas yarn. And so I'm like, well, you know, I can't make Christmas socks if I don't have Christmas yarn. So I bought the Christmas skein from Carrie, and it's beautiful, and I'm super excited about knitting it and making myself at least one pair of Christmas socks. So you'll see that next week. And, yeah. Oh well. I need to get a job. Does anybody want to hire me? I'm nearly an educated accountant. I'm really close. I only have, what, 10 weeks left of school, and then I'll be fully, like, qualified to be an accountant. Not a CPA, just an accountant, but yeah. Oh, well. Okay, so, let's get into books. It's going to be a shorter podcast. Interesting. So I finished reading The Good Daughter, and I did like that quite a lot. I enjoyed it. It was a good book. It kept me engaged. I did kind of figure some of it out, but not as much as I thought. I will say that it is upsetting, and there are some trigger warnings, especially for like sexual assault or assault in general. But I figure you're not going to go to a thriller like this if you are triggered by those kinds of things. And then after I finished that, I picked up All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda. This is something, I knew it was a thriller, but I didn't know anything about it. And I just was kind of in the mood for thrillers. The library had a copy of the audiobook that was available, and so I went ahead and listened to it. I kind of liked it because it's told in reverse chronological order. So, kind of like Memento. If you guys remember that movie from the early 2000s, it's, you know, you start, it goes back each day for 2 weeks, and so you get day 14, and then it goes back to day 13, and so you get day 14 all the way through, and then you go back to the beginning of day 13 and go all the way through, and then to the beginning of day 12 and all the way through to the end of day 12. So it kind of releases information. You have initial thoughts about people and situations, and then you go back a day further, and it sets those opinions on their head because you now have more information. It's really interesting. I was impressed. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. And I will be looking for more by this author. Yeah, I enjoyed it. And it's gotten me all on this psychological thriller kick. So, I plan on picking up this next. This is Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter, who is the same one who wrote The Good Daughter. And I've had this for ages. This is an ARC, which is an advanced reader copy. So sometimes the publisher will send out ARCs to reviewers and to booktubers, and they'll pass them out at book events. And it's basically the book for free. You can't sell them; they're legal to sell, but they're not the final copy. And the idea is to get people reading these books and to get buzz about them. I failed at reading it because this book came out September of 2015. I just completely failed at reading it. So I'm finally going to read it now, and I will at least then hold up my end of the bargain. But I'm excited about reading it now that I have finished The Good Daughter. And so yeah, so I will get to that one soon. It will probably be the next one or thereabouts. I'm waiting for the audiobook to become available through the library. I'm on a waiting list. But I am currently reading this book, which isn't a thriller, although, you know, you'd think with the name Twisted it would be. This is by Laurie Halse Anderson. She is a phenomenal YA writer, and she writes about difficult subjects. I've read 2 of her other books. The first one I read was Speak. This is about a girl who's been kind of shunned by everybody because at the end of the school year last year, she called the cops on a party. And so everybody in her class hates her now because they got in trouble, and her friends are shunning her and that kind of thing. But there's something that happened at that party, and she doesn't have anybody to talk to about it. And so she's just kind of dealing with it. And it's and it really speaks to how when something bad has happened and you don't have anybody to confide in, how that can really tear you up inside, especially when you're a teenager and you're already, you know, have the hormones that are out of whack, and you don't really know how to deal with all of your emotions because you haven't fully grown into all of them yet. So this was really good, really hard to read, but really, really well written. And then the second book that I read by her is also pretty hard to read, but very well written. This is Winter Girls, and this talks about the main character, Cassie? Yeah. No, Leah. Leah is the main character. Cassie is her friend, and Leah deals with anorexia. And again, really well done, really gives a good insight into that, but I would say that if you suffer from any kind of an eating disorder, not to read this because it is definitely a trigger. But yeah, so this book is about a boy who is going through his senior year of high school, and is just trying, he's been a nerd and he's just trying to get through, and it's talking about the things that high school kids go through with peer pressure and other things that can happen, trouble with parents, trouble with siblings, trouble with friends, and I am really enjoying it. I'm about halfway through, and I just, yeah, everything she writes, really, and she's written a lot of middle grade books as well, and she's just a very good writer. And then lastly, I am also finally finishing up Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. I talked to you guys last week about this, I believe, and how I didn't have a whole lot of high hopes for it because I've read her previous book, which was We Were Liars, and I wasn't really impressed with that one. I have to admit, unfortunately, this one isn't doing it for me either. It is exactly the plot for a previous book. In the author's note in the back, she says that she got inspiration from that previous book, but it just seems like it's almost exactly that book, and if you haven't read it or seen the movie that was made from it, then you would probably enjoy this a lot more. But because I haven't read the book, but I have seen the movie, I'm not getting much out of it. And I don't want to say the movie. I know I'm being vague. But if I say the movie and or the book, and they have the same name, and you have seen or read it, then you will already know what this book is about, and I don't want to spoil the book. So yeah, I just know that I'm not really enjoying it. I am about halfway through. I will finish it. It's not a very long book, so there's no reason not to finish it, but I just think I'm going to write her off as an author. I just don't think she's for me. And that's okay. She's for a lot of other people, and she is a very successful author, so, you know, that's how it works. You know, people have different opinions, and they like different things, and that's okay. All right, that is all that I have for today. Yeah, I feel like this was kind of a discombobulated episode. I apologize if it seemed that way, but maybe next week I will be back on the right path and we'll be able to do it properly without sounding like a goober. Oh, who am I kidding? I'm always going to sound like a goober. Alright guys, I will see you guys next week. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday, and happy knitting. Bye.